There's a brand new star up in heaven tonight, shining down on us, glorious and bright. I'm gonna miss you every day, but I know that you're all right. There's a brand new star up in heaven tonight.
Cannot tell you how absolutely honored I am, folks, to welcome Ace to the program. Of course, Ace is better known as Duane Allen, lead for Country Music Hall of Fame greats, the Oak Ridge Boys. Ace, good morning, my friend. Great to have you with us.
Good morning to you, Phil, and it's great to hear your voice, man. You sound like you're up and ready to go today.
You know, I have the same gratefulness in my heart that also you and the Oaks have always had, and that's kind of a gift that we get from God up above. And when you can take that gift and share it with others, well, I think mission accomplished, don't you?
Yes, and the next step of that, if you share it correctly, you'll feel it back from the people you share it with.
Oh, my gosh.
Because they want to share it, too.
You bet.
And that's really the secret of communication. And it starts from the person who sends the first signal. And I always say that God gave me a light as an artist on stage.
Yeah.
But he gave the audience a reflector. And if I feel it coming back to me, that means I'm sending it right. And so I'm not one of those people to walk off stage and say, wow, man, that's a dead audience. You know, you just really work. No, man. It's a dead artist. Because the artist that comes on there and gives everything they've got and leaves it all on the stage or leaves it all behind the microphone with you right there on the coast.
Yeah.
And if you send it across the airwaves the right way, the people that are listening to you, they want to send it back to you. You'll feel it.
Yes.
And that's magic. That's God's magic.
It is.
And that's the way I look at it, man. I don't make any excuses for my belief in God and that He's blessed us so many years. I just, every day I get up, the first thing I do is thank God that I just got up again. You know?
Yes, I do.
This gives me another opportunity to get it all right.
Duane, you and I parallel in so many ways. I believe the same, and I do the same first thing in the morning. And I believe this is what has given us the power to keep on going. You know, I've been in this business for as long as you have, going on 52 years, my friend. So
wow, that's how long I've been with the Oak Ridge.
I know you have.
and you know something, Phil, before that, in the last 2.5 years of my university, my college experience, I worked at a radio station. And I had my own radio show from 1 to 2 every day and an hour on Sunday morning, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
They let me sell my own advertisement.
Sure. And
the manager of the station let me charge twice what the rate card was. And he let me keep that 50%. And that's how I paid my way through college.
God bless you. Do you remember, what was the name of your radio show?
Songs of Inspiration.
Look at that. Look at that. Mine was
sir.
High Time on KZNG in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Holy moly. I mean, you were not too far from where I was raised in Paris, Texas.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the people until there was a Branson.
Yeah.
When people went on vacation in my home area, they went to Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Absolutely. Yes.
I was one of them.
Oh, my God, Duane.
Oh, yeah. We played in that racetrack up there.
Oaklawn Park.
Put a little stage up there on the right against the glass. You feel like you're falling off. But people are wonderful.
Yes, indeed. I was in the 10th grade when I was walking the Hots at 4 o'clock in the morning, walking those thoroughbreds round and round at Oaklawn Park. And
wow,
that's
what a small world we live in, and it's amazing that back during those days we could have touched base.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I want to stay in those years for just a moment because we all know of the huge international success of the Oak Ridge Boys. But, Duane, I'm interested in hearing about your struggles. Tell us about your early struggles and how you got through them and what got you through the early struggles of the Oak Ridge Boys.
Well, when I came with the Oak Ridge Boys, we were a pretty hot gospel group. I had just gotten out of the Army. And when I got out of the Army, I didn't have a penny to my name, and I was in Fort Worth, Texas, and I had just been told everybody in this recruitment class here is going to Fort Polk, Louisiana for basic training. Then you're going to the front lines in Vietnam.
Wow.
And that just scared the living daylights out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then another sergeant came in from the back room, and they saluted each other, and the new sergeant that had just come in took over the meeting. There was hundreds of recruits or inductees in that room, and he said, if your name is on this list, I want you to go over by that door and stand and wait until I get over there and go with me. And, well, my last name starts with A. That was the first name they called.
Wow.
That scared me even more because I thought, what are they going to do? Are they going to send me from right here to Vietnam?
Sure.
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, 1,000 thoughts were running in my head. Thankfully, the list wasn't that long. There were about 20 people on it. And we all went over by the door and stood, and nobody knew why we were there. Well, we went into this inner office, and the sergeant came in, and he went in a little cubicle. There were two cubicles in the room, and there were two long church pew-type benches that took an L in the corner. And all of us were told to sit on those benches. Well, when he called my name, I was first again. And I went into that little inner cubicle, and he said, he reminded me, everybody here is going to Vietnam. He said, looking at your physical, you passed the first physical. We made you take another one. You passed it. But looking at your life medical record, you are a heart patient. And I said, yes, sir, that's true. It started when we first recognized it at about 3 years old. And I said, but I've dealt with it, and I'm here to serve. I've already left my job. I sold everything I own. I'm here to serve my country. He said, well, if we send you to Vietnam where all of these inductees are going and you have a heart flare-up on the front line, you could own the Army, and we can't afford you.
Oh, my goodness.
His exact words.
Wow.
And I thought, well, and I asked him, I said, well, what does that mean? He said, that means that you're no longer my responsibility.
Wow.
And he said, we'll have to reclassify you from 1A to a medical discharge. And I thought, well, they'll probably put me in a desk job somewhere, and it still wasn't coming through my head. And I said, well, what I do? And he said, I told you, you're no longer my responsibility. And I said, am I out of the Army? He said, you are out of the Army.
My goodness.
I said, well, I don't have any money. I'm 130 miles away from home. What do I do? Can I make a phone call? And he said, there's another cubicle right next door. Nobody's in it right now. Go in there and you can have one phone call. So I called my banker in Paris, Texas, and I told him, I said, I just got out of the Army. And he said, well, what can I do for you? And I said, I need to buy a car. I sold my car in Paris, and because I felt like I'd be in the Army for a few years. And he said, well, just go pick out the car you want, and write a counter check. Remember what those are, Phil?
I certainly do. I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Well, when you said you've been working 52 years, I knew you would know that word. And he said, write a counter check, and I'll cover it when it comes in. I said, I don't even have money to cover a taxi cab to get there. He said, well, tell the salesman to pay the taxi bill, and you'll buy a car from him. And so I bought a 66 Buick Riviera, solid white, and I drove through my home in Cunningham, Taylortown, Texas area. By that time, my parents had moved to Cunningham, and I got what few belongings I had and put them in the back seat of that car. And I had been offered a job a couple of weeks before by the Oak Ridge boys, but I told them I couldn't take it. I'd been drafted, and I had to go to the Army.
Oh, my.
Well, I got in that car, and I went by and said goodbye to Mom and Dad. And the banker asked me if I had a job. I said, I don't. I had an offer, but I don't know where they are in the process. But I need to get to Nashville because there were actually two other jobs that one of them had called me to. And I had the opportunity for possibly three jobs. I said, I think I'll get one of them. And he said, well, when you get a job, call me back and we'll work out a payment schedule.
Right.
I drove all night long to Nashville, Tennessee, to the second floor of the RCA building where our office was. I walked in the front door, and there was the secretary with a phone up to her ear, and she put it down. She said, oh, my God, come in here. And she walked into the inner office. There were all the Oak Ridge boys.
Oh, wow.
And they said, what are you doing here? And I said, I came looking for a job. They said, we thought you were in the Army. I said, I got out. And they said, well, let's go sing. So we went to a little old church over on Trinity Lane, sang two songs. They went into a side room and met for about 15 minutes, came out and offered me a full ownership in the Oak Ridge Boys and in our publishing company.
Unbelievable.
And that's how it happened. And a little bit later on, Pat Talon, who was the secretary, told me what she was told and why she was making that phone call. They had just told her, try to get Duane Allen one more time, and if you can't get him, we're going to disband the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, look at
I drove all the way from Fort Worth, Texas, after buying a new car on the credit and getting out of the Army, came through my hometown, said goodbye to Mom and Dad, drove all night long, drove into the Oak Ridge Boys parking lot of the RCA building to the second floor and walked into their office at the exact time that they said, try to get Duane Allen one more time, and if we can't get him, we're going to disband the group.
You've had blessings.
That was 52 years ago come this, I went to the Army on my birthday, April 29th, so it was on May 1st.
What a fabulous story. Duane, this, not
it's
only...
Yes. It's a God thing.
Yes,
Phil.
it is. Absolutely. Not only is your music rooted in the spiritual, but also your entire life. Duane, you're going to be here in New Bedford, Massachusetts at the Zeiterion Performing Arts Center on Saturday, March the 24th, 8 o'clock. And we want to see a full auditorium to welcome you all with our open arms. I'm sure it's going to be a great show. We only have a minute left, and in this time, I want to do two things. From my heart, I want you to know what a tremendous difference you have made in this world by sharing your talent and touching other people's hearts. You've opened up an emotional floodgate, and I believe you've redirected many, many lives through your music. That's it.
Wow, thank you, Phil.
You're
God
so,
bless you for that.
Thank you.
Do I have time to just say a couple of words about that song you were playing?
Yeah, we have 1 minute and counting.
Okay. There's a brand new star in heaven tonight. You were playing that when we started talking.
Yes.
When we were recording, we wanted to get that right. And the writers of that song, which are in their 20s, came in, and Joe said to them, kind of jokingly, just to make conversation, this is the happiest song I've ever heard about somebody dying.
Oh, my gosh.
And the writer looked at him deadpan and said, well, that's the point.
Exactly. Yes.
We all want to believe there's another place left for us who are believers that we get to go after we die. This gives those people who are hurting and grieving for a lost loved one another way to think about it. There's a brand new star shining down on me tonight. Let the love shine down.
And I hear a collective amen to that. My friend, this has been just a personal honor and pleasure. Thank you so very much, Duane Allen.
Phil,
yes, sir.
You better be out at the show. I want to hug you next.
Love it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. We'll be there. Many blessings, God's blessings. Thank you, Duane. Thank you so much. You betcha, buddy. We are bye-bye now. Well, folks, I'm going to Florida next week. While I'm gone, I'm sure you're going to love both JR and Ken. On behalf of my Celeste, thank you all. Thank you for tuning in every morning. And God's blessings to each and every one of you.
Break in the clouds, the sun is shining through. Speaks to my soul.
From ABC News.